That car behind me is the new JAECOO 8, a car that costs from £45,500 and is available in both 7 and 6-seater forms. And it's exclusively available as a plug-in hybrid all-wheel drive car, meaning this is an off-road capable rival to the likes of the Skoda Kodiaq, the Peugeot 5008, Hyundai Santa Fe, and even premium stuff like the Volkswagen Tiguan. JAECOO is claiming some really bold things, not only with efficiency, ride comfort and luxury, but also off-roading as well. So in this video, we're going to put it all to the test. Now, as I said just a mo ago, you can get this car in both 7-seater and 6-seater forms, but as far as the exterior design is concerned, they both look identical. And, well, you know what? The JAECOO 7, I think, definitely is a bold-looking car. It's got a big front grille. I know a lot of people like it, but I think in some ways it's a little bit angular and a little bit awkward at points, if not still quite handsome. But I think this actually really does look very good. I think the slightly more curved edges on the nose, the round grille, adds a sense of luxury to it. And there's a little bit of Mercedes-AMG massive front grille in there, I think, as well. Now, to some people, this will probably be a bit too bold, but I have to admit, in the metal, it does look quite good. It does look quite premium, and with these wheels, which by the way are standard 20-inch wheels, you can't get bigger or smaller, they're just standard across the board, and these are the slightly more subtle design. There is also a J-shaped spoke design, which I think looks even better. But with that, and with that squared off wheel arch, and as I said, those kind of slim, that slightly angular nose, I'll try and give you the angle of the nose from the side here, just to give you that it's a bit softer than the 7. I do think it looks quite good, and the stance is much better too, probably because this is a bigger car. You know, we're talking 4.9 meters in length, so it really does make it a big vehicle. And as you can see from the side, well, look, you've got your roof racks up top, and there's some big doors as well, which bodes well for access to the rear, which of course I will show you in just a little bit. And if we come around to the rear, well, you'll see we've got the classic light bar with the JAECOO logo up there, two definitely fake exhausts, yeah, two fake exhausts down there, but a nice clean design. It's subtle, not particularly bold at the rear, but yeah, it's a good looking car, isn't it? Now, before I show you the very, very interesting interior, I just want to let you know that if you're interested in a JAECOO for yourself, well, you can find one at JAECOO Marshall stores across the country. To find your local store, all you have to do is search Marshall JAECOO, and then you'll be able to see which store is closest to you. And of course, you can also browse the stock online, things that are already around, or things you can order new as well. And that includes this JAECOO 8, which of course is brand new. Although, if you do prefer used cars, you can also use the QR code on screen to download the Cinch app, where you can find used cars, not just of JAECOO form, but also all the other brands out there as well. And you can even compare them using the built-in comparison tool. Now, the interior of this JAECOO 8 is a massive step up on the things you will have experienced across the group as far as JAECOO and its sister brands are concerned, because they've really pushed the luxury in this car. And you know, luxury is a stretched word these days. It gets applied to a lot of stuff, but genuinely, I have to admit, some of the features in here do feel at least very premium. Now, of course, if you've been an actual Range Rover or even a Land Rover Defender, which, by the way, JAECOO has subtly mentioned in some of its comparison paperwork to say, you know, this car is about half the price, if not less, than the equivalent Defender. And the reason they say that is because of the off-road ability of this car, which we'll test in a little bit. Now, they've obviously thought about the interior in that regard too. Of course, the Land Rovers are slightly more luxurious. The fit and finish in the Land Rovers is just really beautiful, but they are a properly expensive car. And given that this is way under 50 grand, I mean, even the top of the range spec car is still £47,500. Well, given that, it really does feel like you get a lot for your money, not just in terms of the materials they've used. There's lots of very nice vegan leathers in here with stitching that feel nice and softly finished and just really well put together. But there's also some contrasting materials. There's this sort of metal effect. I presume it's plastic, but it certainly feels of good quality. And then you've got an Alcantara effect thing on the top as well. And also the screens here, two 12.3-inch screens. They're curved as well towards you. So it doesn't just feel like they're plunked on the dash like two iPads. There's a little bit of design in there as well. Plus, you know, steering wheel's in a good position, seating is comfortable, and you even got in this particular car, by the way, is the 4+2 version, so it's a 6-seater. You've got massage and heated and vented cools front and rear as standard. Now, that does mean you've got a lot of tech in this car, of course. As I said, you've got your screens, very simple to use infotainment system. It's relatively easy to access the driver assistance features to switch off all the annoying stuff. It's a swipe down and then a tap. Plus, you've got a few touch sensitive haptic style buttons on the steering wheel. They're on a rocker actually, so it's easy to adjust your media and also your driver assistance features on the go. Plus, you've got some actual buttons as well to switch between EV and hybrid electric mode. This is a plug-in hybrid with a very, very impressive electric range. More in that in just a second. You've also got a cooled wireless phone charging mat. It's 50 watts, so it's pretty powerful. And the seating position is quite high, so it's commanding over that butch curved bonnet, which means visibility is great. And that's before you use, by the way, the full 3D effect reversing cameras. You've also got a digital illustration of the car on screen that you can see through to help you really get through the tightest of spaces. Again, that's a tech that's going to be useful when we go off-road. Also, we've got a big panoramic sunroof above me here, and in fact, I'm told it actually opens proper. Yeah, it does. I can see the button, although I'm not going to open it today because it's a bit chilly outside, but it does give you a lot of light in this cabin, which finished in this sort of orangey burnt red color against the black. Looks quite nice. It feels, as I said, properly premium. Luxury, you know, let's reserve that for the true luxury cars out there, but certainly this does feel like it can kick it with some of the best of the premium European brands. The back seats in the 4+2 model we're in here are identical to the front seats, but they actually gain armrests, so that means they're a little bit more comfortable in that regard. But it means you've got the same tech, as I mentioned earlier, for comfort features. Plus, I've got electric adjustment on them here as well, just like the front. Now, I will be jumping into a 7-seater version in just a bit, so I'll show you what that's like, but, you know, of course, that's going to have a middle seat to go with the 2 side ones, but the seats are quite different. And these ones, well, they're nice and supportive. The fabric's really nice on your back, and honestly, a long journey in this would be very easy. Although there is something I've noticed. I can get my feet under the seat ahead just fine, and legroom is okay. It's not limousine-like, but it's certainly comfortable. But one thing I wasn't expecting was actually headspace to be a little bit closer. I'm just under 6 foot, so of course most people will be slightly smaller than me on a UK average at least, and so most people would fit comfortably in here. But if you're a taller person, if you're over 6 foot, well, you know, if you don't lean your seat back all the way, which it can go quite far back, oh yeah, really far back. But if you don't lean your seat all the way back, well then yeah, you are only probably, you know, I'm what, an inch off of the roof there. So that's something to note if you've got taller rear passengers who are going to be using the back of the car a lot. But otherwise, yeah, it's really nice. We've got our own adjustments for fan speed, and also your heated and vented seat buttons are down there too. Good amounts of storage space. It's nice. Now, the interesting thing about the JAECOO 8 versus its rivals is it's plug-in hybrid only. And as I mentioned, it always comes with 2 seats in the boot, which means you've got a battery in the middle of the car, and it's a big one. It's 34.4 kilowatt hours, which for reference is bigger than you get on a Renault Twingo. That's an electric car. This has a bigger battery than some small proper EVs, but it also has a petrol engine in the front. But of course it is a plug-in hybrid, and with the seats in the boot, that means there's a lot of stuff in the floor of this car. So you might expect the boot to be pretty cramped, but as you can see, it's not. It's massive. It's over 700 litres of usable space at the back here, and then that grows to over 2,000 if you fold those rear seats down as well. And it doesn't matter whether you have the 6-seater like we have here or the 7-seater, you'll always get this setup in the rear. So that comprises of a basically not much usable space down here, but at least you can hide away some of the safety kits. And of course, your rear seats here are easily pullable up like this. I'll test these out in just a second. But as you can see, they're obviously a space for children rather than adults, but they're useful, I'm sure, if you occasionally have to take, I don't know, your kids' mates to school in the morning. Do I fit in these back seats? No. Emphasis on the word kids. These are definitely seats for children because I don't fit in terms of height or length. They're tiny. One thing that isn't small though is this car's claimed electric range, because JAECOO's claiming 83 miles of fully electric power before you need to wake the petrol engine up, which is really impressive. It's double what some of this car's rivals can manage. And of course, some electric cars only a handful of years ago wouldn't have done much better in the real world. So that's really, really impressive. But more importantly is how it not only allows you to cut CO2, so if you're a fleet buyer, if you're somebody with a company car list, this is just 14 grams of CO2 per kilometre, which means it'll be very cheap for your company car list. And also, it's going to be great as well for fuel efficiency, which we'll test in just a moment. But I should let you in on how this car actually drives its wheels, and that is using a combination of a turbocharged 1.5 litre engine, which you'll recognise if you've watched a JAECOO 7 video. It's the same engine as that, just the latest version of it, but it also has 3 electric motors. And the interesting thing is there's one on the rear that can do powering and also regen, and then on the front there's one that does powering, and then there's a separate one that just does regen. So they're claiming some big things for regen tech in this car as well as performance. And by the way, performance is strong. It's over 400 horsepower, meaning a claimed 0 to 62 time of just 5.6 seconds. This is properly quick stuff for a car that, let's be frank, is big, and it's over 2 tons. So let's see what it's like on the road, shall we? Now, I'm starting this bit of the driving a little bit off-road before I drive on the road, and I wanted to do that because I'm currently going over some very bumpy, jiggly surfaces here to get onto actual tarmac. And the reason I'm doing that, and the reason I'm telling you about it, is because I have not told you about this car's key bit of tech, and that is its continuous adaptive damping. It uses metal filings in the dampers, which is nothing brand new, other brands do it, but it uses it continuously to adjust the strength of the damping. So all that means, in simple terms, is if it sees a bump or if it feels a bump, it will automatically react through mechanics and physics to hopefully adapt the suspension to that scenario. So those bumps I just went over in that gravelly car park, there were lots of dips and ruts, and it was doing a pretty good job. Here's a pothole. Yeah, I mean, it's still noticing it. I'm still aware there's a pothole there, but it's definitely smoothing out the impact, and it's definitely making the energy that's passed through to my backside much less. So far, it feels pretty comfortable. Now I've got all those annoying bings and bongs switched off, just a swipe down, tap, 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 and they're all off, thankfully. Once they're off, the car stops telling you off for doing things like not looking directly ahead, because sometimes you need to look elsewhere in the car. So that's good, you can switch those off. And the ride continues to feel pretty good. Now I'm finding some holes here. Yeah, it's doing a pretty good job. It's, as I said, it's not the softest car out there, but it's also feels quite well judged. It's quick as well. It picks up and accelerates nicely from a rolling acceleration there. The accelerator in these JAECOOs often is, there's a bit of a hesitation when you first put your foot down. I guess that's for safety, so you don't accidentally sneeze and find yourself powering off. There's a slight hesitation of half a second, it feels like. Foot down, then we power on. But once it powers on, it is quick. This is an effortless car, over 2 tons in weight, but it doesn't feel it when you're putting your foot down, because it really does get a move on. Wind noise is not too bad as well. There are some big, great visibility door mirrors either side of me here. I can't hear any wind going over them, so that's good. Insulation from the wind is pretty good, but there is a little bit of road noise. There's a little bit of hiss from those tyres. These are big wheels. They're 20-inch alloy wheels, so there's a bit of hiss here. You can hear a bit of road surface here and there. So, you know, given the price of this car, of course, it's not going to be able to compete with a proper Range Rover, not even a Defender, because those things can carry so much more tech and so much more hardware to fight the noise. But this is really very impressive given the price point. The suspension tech is also supposed to keep the car from rocking forward and backwards, so when I touch the brake, oh yeah, it is doing it. Now you can switch this off, by the way. If you're not into that kind of stuff, you can. But yeah, as I brake there, the car is not nosediving, and I've noticed actually it wasn't really rocking back as well, so it's a very steady car, which I guess will be good if you've got children trying to sleep in the back. If you've got a little one trying to have a nap, this should be quite a nice car for them. So what are we getting as MPG out of this car? Because of course, with all that tech aboard, and with that very big hybrid battery, and with that big claimed electric range, it should be pretty good. And well, if you look at the lifetime MPG stats of this car, it's only done 177 miles, this demonstrator, and in its lifetime, it's averaged, according to the trip, 141.3 miles per gallon, which is mightily impressive. But I presume a lot of that has been driving around in an urban environment in electric mode. So obviously that means the engine's been off. But I've been driving the car more in a mixed environment and definitely a little bit more enthusiastically. I've been using sport mode as well, and I've put my foot down out of junctions. And I've been averaging, to be fair to the car, 41 miles per gallon, which is over 2 tons this car. It's a big SUV. That is not bad at all. If you drive it more efficiently, you drive it more sensibly, I mean, I could expect, even if you weren't the best as far as charging up your battery was concerned, and even if you drove a little bit more clumsily, surely you're going to get well into the 40s in terms of miles per gallon real world. So that's okay, albeit, of course, nowhere near what this car has achieved in its lifetime. Whoever drove this before me, you must have helium in your shoes. And for those wondering if the JAECOO 8 can actually go off-road like a Land Rover, we'll put it this way. It can do considerably more than anyone is ever likely to need, even if it's not quite as off-road capable as a proper Land Rover. But look, it can still go through an actual river. So it's clear that this car does a lot of things off-road that most people will never need it to do, but it's good to know in case you get stuck in a village that's flooded, you can drive out pretty safely. But of course, what matters most is how this car compares with its rivals in terms of pricing and what you get. And in that regard, it has a lot to offer. Of course, the interior is really where this car earns its value versus the competition. Yeah, all right, it's not the plushest on the road, it's not the softest riding over some of the bumps, but generally speaking, this is going to be an easy car to live with and one that's cheap to run as well, thanks to that very impressive electric range. So overall, this new JAECOO 8, I think, is going to follow the hot-selling 7 and be a very common sight on UK roads. But let me know what you think. Do you agree? And do you think this design is better than the 7 like I do? And of course, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well.